All right, hello and welcome. We're joined now by former NFL lineman Jeff Schwartz and the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's start with college football, where you'd think the big story would be Jimbo Fisher leaving Florida State for Texas A&M, but instead it's once again Tennessee's head coaching search, which cost athletic director John Currie his job today. From the rescinded offer to Greg Schiano to getting turned down by coaches from Purdue and NC State to a reported battle over making an offer to Mike Leach, the past week has been portrayed as a disaster for the school. Cowherd, will firing Currie help them land a big-name coach?
No, because there's not a lot of big-name coaches out there. There's Lane Kiffin, and there's Kevin Sumlin.
Mike Leach.
Mike Leach is a terrible fit. First of all, he likes pirates, and it's a landlocked state. He's a bad fit. He's quirky, non-traditional. This is the South traditional.
Runs a great offense.
Yeah, he runs a quirky, passing West Coast offense. The Southern football schools want power. They want tradition. They want
to win.
Let me tell you, I don't think it would win. Listen, the brand's tarnished, man. The brand is tarnished.
Oh, I so disagree with this.
You think
listen,
Purdue's coach turned him down.
And you know why they turned him down? Because they had a bad athletic director. John Currie had no business being the AD at Tennessee. The whole Philip Fulmer, the whole family was broken up at Tennessee. Once you drain Currie out of this situation, now, and you get the right athletic director, now this Tennessee job has a very passionate fan base. It has boosters that care. It plays in the SEC. It's a good job. They get the right athletic director, they'll hire a good coach. All this beating up of the Tennessee fan base by you and Joel Klatt and everybody else,
so unfair.
I think is completely unfair. I do.
These bloggers created this, and this is what you have.
Hey, let's not beat up on bloggers here, Cowherd. The big problem at Tennessee is they didn't have a game plan. We knew Butch Jones was gone in October.
Yes.
John Currie.
You knew that, no, the head coach. You knew you were going to fire him. John Currie should have had a game plan to bring in a coach from October, and I don't know how that happens in the SEC. So we just saw what happened at UCLA, right? They wanted to get rid of Jim Mora. We got to target Chip Kelly. We've got to beat Florida to the punch. So you fire your coach, you go get Chip Kelly. There was no plan here. I don't understand how at the 11 o'clock hour now, a new AD.
Yeah,
but the new AD can't change that. It's like you said, the market's thin. Mike Leach is a great underdog. Okay, you go to Texas Tech, no expectations.
Yeah.
He did well. Washington State, no expectations.
Exactly.
He did well. Tennessee, you better win from day one.
And you can't talk about Bigfoot and pirates at your press conference 4 days before.
If you win, you can do almost anything.
I don't think you want this job right now. It just feels toxic.
Mike Leach will win 9 games, maybe 10 max at Tennessee. The air raid will get eaten alive with that SEC defense. That passing the ball, the soft offensive lines, whenever he plays a physical offensive line, this is the problem that we had at Oregon, too, with Chip Kelly. We got crushed when we played a physical defense. I don't think that's a good fit there. But look, if you're a head coach looking at Tennessee, they've offered 3 guys now. They've offered 3 and got none of them. They offered Brom, and they offered him too much money, right? The chancellor came back and they re-offered him. Mike Leach was offered the job, supposedly, and Schiano was. So if you're looking at this job right now, how can you be confident that you have the support of the chancellor, of the new AD, and the fans as well? They're so rabid like that.
You got to get your house in order, though. If I were a head coach, I would have been smart to go, John Currie doesn't have the support of Philip Fulmer and an important faction of that Tennessee fan base and organization. He's going to get fired at some point. They've made the right decision. Fire him, announce your new athletic director, get the Haslams, Jimmy Haslam, who's can't pick a Browns coach, but he can pick the coach at Tennessee, get him a little less more out of the mix. Now you have a chance, I'm telling you, to hire a football coach. I think, again, if they hire the right AD, I think a good football coach that turns this job down would be stupid.
Listen, you're also forgetting this. Florida hired a coach. They're not going to hire 15 great assistants. They're on their way. They're taking the best of the best. And now Texas A&M has Fisher. He's going to hire the next 15 great assistants. If they don't hire a coach within a week, 2 more jobs will be filled. And how many great offensive coordinators are in the college football? Either they'll go to those jobs or they have jobs. You're going to get a second-rate staff if you don't make a deal in about 72 hours.
Let me ask you this, Whitlock. Florida State is now open with Jimbo Fisher gone. Right. What's a better job, Florida State or Tennessee? That's a no-brainer.
Florida State's a better job.
That's fine.
Is Oregon a better job if Taggart leaves than Tennessee?
Less chaos.
Nike's backyard.
To me, if you really want to matter, go play where it matters the most in the SEC. Go coach against Nick Saban. If you're a great coach, you want to be right in there competing against Nick Saban in the SEC, in my opinion, or in the Big Ten. Those are the two conferences that matter the most to me. Listen, I don't care if they wait 2 weeks, 2 months, whenever. Get your house in order, then go hire the right head coach. And it doesn't matter when. You'll get it right if you get the right head coach and the right support around you.
To Indianapolis, where number 8 Ohio State's taking on number 4 Wisconsin in tomorrow's Big Ten Championship on Fox. Even though the Badgers are unbeaten, still aren't getting much respect, with the 2-loss Buckeyes actually favored by almost a touchdown. All right, Whitlock, who should be favored in this matchup?
Listen, I don't have a problem with Ohio State being favored. I really don't. I think Wisconsin's going to win because I think people underestimate just how good their defense is. And I think the number one thing that's underestimated is this quarterback, Hornibrook. I think he looks like he's not a big-time quarterback, but when he gets into the red zone, I think he's the best quarterback in the FBS. This guy makes throws that are sometimes I go like, holy cow, that's like a Tom Brady throw. Occasionally he'll have something that looks bad and awkward, but I think people are sleeping on Hornibrook. I think people do understand how good Wisconsin's defense is. I think they're starting to get an understanding that Paul Chryst is just as good a coach as anybody in football. I think Wisconsin's going to win. I don't have a problem with Ohio State being favored.
Well, who should be favored? Ohio State, because Ohio State has more NFL players. And, I mean, this is why Alabama would still be favored over every single team they play. They have more NFL bodies. I follow recruiting. I have for 30 years. I have no life. Rivals, scouts, 24/7, I follow them all. Ohio State has 25 NFL players. Wisconsin's got 4. Now, that doesn't mean coaching can't overcome it. Chip Kelly was beating people on system. It doesn't mean if you have a great quarterback, whereas J.T. Barrett fluctuates wildly. I think also Wisconsin has a really good sense of self.
They got a great identity. They know exactly who they are.
And Ohio State fluctuates game to game. They don't. But if you're asking me, who's got the better players? If I said take the 30 best athletes, Ohio State's got 24 of them. They should be favored.
I don't think they have Wisconsin's identity, and I think Wisconsin's identity and power football and this quarterback are going to win the game.
I don't disagree with that, though. Yeah.
I actually think Wisconsin got a little too nice of a line here. This should be bigger. This should be closer to 10 points. I mean, listen, I like Ohio State in this game. Wisconsin's a great story. You guys have seen undefeated. Their best wins have all been at home against Michigan and Northwestern and Purdue. This is a team, like you said, 4 players maybe in the NFL. Ohio State's loaded. They're more explosive. You get these 5-star athletes in space. I'm worried this could be a blowout because, remember, Ohio State needs to convince the committee we deserve to be in the playoffs.
That's true.
You come out and win 17-16, that may not cut it. Your Alabama Tide might get in there. It smells like an Ohio State blowout to me, guys.
That's an interesting point because...
How many pros did Iowa have? Continue, Jeff.
So, to me, a good team beats up on bad teams. That's what Wisconsin's done all season. They've allowed only 9 red zone touchdowns and only 30 trips total into the red zone. So their defense is legit. I know they're playing Ohio State now, who has more weapons on offense, more athletes, but J.T. Barrett's coming off a knee surgery just a couple weeks ago, asking him to go play in this game and go play like his normal self. That's not going to happen. And like you said, the identity of Wisconsin, running the football, play action pass, being smart in the red zone, controlling the clock is huge in this game. I want Ohio State to win because I want Bama to be in, and I kind of want the chaos that happened in college football and the discussion. Also, this basically will be the reverse of what happened to Ohio State last year. If they win this game, Bama gets in. So I'm rooting for the chaos, but I think Wisconsin win this game.
Don't you think Wisconsin, Colin, has an emotional edge? They're the underdogs. No one expects them. They're undefeated. Tim Tebow's on TV saying if Wisconsin wins, they still shouldn't make the playoffs.
He said that?
Yes.
Oh
they still shouldn't make the playoffs. And so I think Wisconsin has the emotional edge. I think they have the right identity. And again, J.T. Barrett's been up and down. A cameraman hurt his knee last week. I love Wisconsin. Have no problem with Ohio State being a favorite.
I picked Wisconsin to win, 26-24. You're asking me who should be favored.
Yep.
I will say this. Preparation matters. Wisconsin staff can tell them all week. You're the only undefeated team left, and you're the biggest underdog in Vegas. And coaches say they don't say it, but boy, you know how these games, how do you practice? I guarantee you Wisconsin's had more focused practices than Ohio State.
All three of you guys are on Wisconsin, just for the record.
Yes.
Okay.
We all we got.
I'm going to take out my mortgage and put it on Ohio State.
We all we need. All right, welcome back to the show. Jeff Schwartz is back, and we're joined now by NFL Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson. Let's return to the NFL, where Carson Wentz and the Eagles can clinch the NFC East with a win on Sunday, but will be up against their toughest test so far this year, taking on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks in Seattle. Wentz has been getting all the love in this year's MVP conversation, but Russell Wilson has put this injured Seahawks team on his back, accounting for more than 82% of his team's rushing and passing yards, which will be an NFL record. He's also averaging the most passing yards per game in the NFC and is the fourth best quarterback in the league. Cowherd, who's had a more impressive year, Wentz or Wilson?
Russell Wilson. To me, I'm always impressed by people who do more with less. You know, you had Chip Kelly as a coach. He took Oregon to a national title with about 3 NFL guys, okay? Nick Saban's great, but that roster, Ed Orgeron, LSU, those are NFL teams. It's amazing. He has no running game. Doug Baldwin on a loaded roster is probably a 2. Richardson's maybe a 4. Dwayne Brown's their best offensive lineman, and he's all beat up and old. It's incredible. When you watch them play, you know what it reminds me of? When you were a kid and you'd play like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then you could rush the quarterback. Hike 1001, and he's running. It reminds me of when you played as kids and you just had 1 second to throw. It's one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen.
I'm going to play the other side, although I agree with you. And here's where I'll defend Wentz, or where I'll make Wentz. Wentz is in his second year, and he had a bad ending to his rookie year. His play regressed. Russell Wilson, everything you described, we've been seeing for Russell Wilson for the last 2, 3, 4 years. He is one of the best quarterbacks in football and is on a Hall of Fame path. If they had just not thrown that interception from the 1-yard line, he'd be like consensus. Two Super Bowls, MVP candidate, blah, blah, blah. But Carson Wentz in year 2, when you just talk about being impressive, were we expecting this? Which one has exceeded our expectations, I think, this year? And it's Carson Wentz.
I agree with that. I mean, Carson Wentz right now, he has 28 touchdowns. His passer rating is 104. And a second-year quarterback, you don't see that as a second-year quarterback. I mean, he's one of the, if not one of the hottest quarterbacks in the National Football League. They're talking about him and Tom Brady. I mean, when you get compared to Tom Brady, I'd probably, say they'll say one of the greatest quarterbacks in the National Football League, and you're in your second year. That's saying a lot.
Not to downgrade Wentz at all, because I agree with you guys. He's been fantastic. Russell Wilson has accounted for 26 of 27 Seattle touchdowns. That's remarkable. And we saw 82% of the total offense. For me, though, it's how long can he keep this up? How long can he keep getting hit? Can he keep accounting for this offense? They only average 63 yards a game with the running back, rushing the ball. That's not good enough to win in this league. So how long can Russell Wilson continue to get beat up, continue to have to put up 30 points a game because their defense is so beat up? To me, I think the Eagles go in there and win this game. But what Wentz has done, you can't take that away from him because Wilson is more impressive with less players on his roster.
Carson Wentz has the city, the staff, and the locker room with him. Russell Wilson battles his own locker room.
Great point.
I mean, this is the Legion of Boom. Before the season, I mean, there was that big ESPN piece, like 4 teammates banging on it.
And can we get Colin Kaepernick in here just in case Russell goes sideways? It was crazy.
No, I mean, Russell is, I have said this, in my lifetime, he is Steve Young. That he came into the league as a runner first, so he lost respect. And the coach, Bill Walsh and Pete, get a lot of the credit, and he was different. Steve was a lefty who ran. Russell's 5'11" and runs. If you just take all that stuff out and that branding out, Russell is the closest thing I've seen to Steve Young.
I would make a different analogy because Steve Young, to me, is probably the most gifted quarterback I think I've ever seen. His accuracy and all that. Russell, to me, Jeff's too young to know this guy, but Fran Tarkenton.
Oh, I remember that.
And he kind of reminds me. Fran Tarkenton was undersized,
from Georgia,
about
6 foot.
Yeah, and he ran around and played forever. Ran around taking some hits and, unfortunately couldn't win a Super Bowl. But that's who he kind of, Russell Wilson reminds me of.
Fran Tarking, Purple People Eaters.
Yeah.
That was a defensive culture as well.
Yes, yeah.
To Dallas, where the Cowboys got back on track last night, snapped their 3-game losing streak. Pretty impressive blowout win over Washington. Boy, Redskins did not play well. For the first time since losing Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas's running game came to life, put up over 175 yards, helped the Cowboys get back to 500. While there are a lot of teams in Dallas's way, they're just a game and a half out of the wild card spot. And by the way, some of those teams in their way have rough schedules. The Cowboys do not. Whitlock, you think Dallas has a chance to make the playoffs?
Well, no, listen, they get a bye playing against the Giants. I get that. But I think at the Raiders is going to be tough. They got to play the Seahawks. They got to play at the Eagles.
Sean Lee comes back here pretty soon.
My bigger point was I was not impressed at all last night. I thought, to me, Kirk Cousins was the far better quarterback last night. What Kirk Cousins did was virtually incredible, given his offensive line play, given the turnovers and the fumbles, the way his receivers cost him interceptions. I thought the Redskins gave Dallas that game, gave them all the momentum early with the turnovers, and then it was just downhill for Dallas ever since. They couldn't help but win and play that game. And then when you look at it again, Dak Prescott, I'm just sorry. I love the guy, and I hope he recovers, but 11 of 22 passing. Hasn't thrown for 250 yards, and I don't know when. I don't think things are fixed in Dallas. They still look like a team that desperately needs Ezekiel Elliott back.
Well, they're going to get him. Dak is 19-9. So this morning I went back and I looked at every win. And here are the two things that happen regularly when Dak wins. He gets over 160 yards rushing, happened last night, and they win the turnover battle. To your point, Washington gave them some big help. I said it this morning on the show. I've had to hire babysitters. I have kids. There's two types. The ones that you make sure your kids are bathed and tired, and the babysitter just comes in, tucks them in. Then there's the ones where they can do CPR. I mean, they could cook dinner for them. Dak is the kind of babysitter that if everything's set up, he can just turn on Netflix and they watch a movie, go to bed. Okay, he's not, if there's a fire in the house, Dak can't even find the extinguisher. And not that he's solely a game manager, but I do think we see what's happening in his 19 wins. He needs a running game, and he needs help. And that's not a criticism. That's what Dak is to this point.
But you got to understand, Dak is in his second year also. He's not fortunate enough to have a Doug Peterson, as a head coach. I mean, when I think about the Cowboys, when you look at the Cowboys right now, their offense is actually going backwards. I mean, they look very bad on offense. They almost look like the Rams did last year. The defense just last night, they look good, but, they're playing the Washington Redskins. And you talk about their schedule. Their schedule is not easy. Tell me, when they play the Giants, this is a rival game. The Giants, we're going home, you're going home with us. With the Raiders are the Raiders. They got the Seahawks. That won't be an easy game. The Eagles, the last game of the season, the Eagles might not play their starters, but the backups like, hey, I'm trying to stay on this football team. So I don't think that they're going to really, they might make the playoffs. Everybody has a shot to make the playoffs, but will they make the playoffs? Maybe not.
I think you need 10 wins in the NFC. I don't see them winning the last 4 games. You mentioned the Giants rivalry game. I play in that game now. MetLife might be full of Cowboys fans in a couple of weeks because of the way the Giants season has gone, but it's still going to be cold, could be windy, could be rainy. And look, I don't think Zeke Elliott coming back is going to just jump in there right away and be the same player he was previously. So you have to work him back in the system. And about Dak and Jason Garrett, is he really holding him back, or is this what we see of Dak? This is what Dak is. I think it's more this is what Dak is and not the coaching staff holding him back.
Yeah, it's funny about the Cowboys, though. Just look at the season for the Cowboys. They were 2-3, we bailed. Then they won 3 straight. The Chiefs, we loved them. Then they went into the tank. Jason Garrett's a bum. And now today we're like, I kind of like him. These seasons are long. And attrition, health, here's the good news. Ty Smith is back. Sean Lee is back against the Giants probably. And then Zeke's back in 2 weeks. Some of this is just those are 3 of their best 4 players.
And the other thing that was back last night was the running game. And again,
yes,
that helps Dak babysit.
A ton.
Jeff, what did you see from Dallas's offensive line? Were you impressed with them last night, or was that more just about the Redskins in field position and the turnovers and throwing that defense out there over and over again?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both. To me, it felt like they finally reestablished wanting to run the ball. They weren't behind. They were able to keep pounding Washington, and Tyron Smith looked almost 100% healthy. He had some great blocks on it. Pancaking dudes at the goal line, running downfield and killing guys. They're still young at right tackle with La'el Collins. Cooper at left guard needs Tyron Smith there because he's a little limited talent-wise, so you have all the gang back. So they looked better, but Washington's depleted. John Allen's not there for
that's
a
a
lot
big
of weeks.
part of that game.
And so it was good to see that as an offensive lineman, but I don't think it continues. They'll go to New York, and like you mentioned, New York's struggling, but they still have Snacks Harrison in the middle. They still have JPP. They still have guys who are going to give them trouble. Go to Oakland, same thing, Seattle. So it's still a work in progress for that offensive line.
See, I see they're going to beat the Giants. Geno Smith is out there, quarterback. I see the Raiders game as the critical game, and it's going to be at Oakland. Derek Carr and the Raiders still have a lot to play for. They got a lot to play for. The AFC West now is wide open. I think that game will determine the future of the Cowboys, and I don't expect it to go well.
Welcome back. Move to Tiger Woods. He loves Tiger. Who looked even better in round 2 of his comeback to the Hero World Championship today.
Yes, he did.
4 under 68 in round 2. Tie for 5th place. 7 under. Going into the weekend, Whitlock. Here's Tiger on what he thought he proved today.
Well, it proved that the surgery was successful. The rehab has been fantastic. And now I've got a chance to go out there and play competitive golf again.
Whitlock, goosebumps. Is it a big deal if he wins the tournament?
Yeah, if he wins this tournament, I think it's a huge deal, maybe the biggest deal in sports in terms of setting up the 2018 golf season. Listen, I had an advantage over you. You're on the radio this morning. I got to watch every drop of what Tiger Woods did. Complete command of his driver. Yesterday, he had problems when he was off the green and had to use his wedge and pitch on. He had no control over it. Today, that was the best part of his game. So Tiger Woods improved from yesterday. That's the number one thing. His putting, he couldn't judge the greens in terms of speed, pace, and that cost him a stroke or two. But again, what I love the most, he improved from yesterday, and I expect him to improve again on Saturday. I don't want to get too excited, but man, I'm sorry. The guy looks back to me, man. I mean, he really does. And I know he's not in first place.
First of all, he had a 15th-month sabbatical, and he chose this course. Okay, this course has 3 windmills on it. Okay, this ain't exactly Bethpage Black. Okay, this is attainable.
He's ahead of Dustin Johnson right now, Colin.
This is attainable birdie territory. He picked the course.
Colin, it's about what he's doing with his driver in the fairway, has complete control of his driver. Again, it's about the improvement from day to day. Terrible yesterday with his wedge. Amazing today with his wedge. Somehow couldn't get the pace of putts right today, so I expect big improvement of that tomorrow. It's the lack of pain. It's the confidence. This is different than I think his previous comebacks. And look, last year he was 6 strokes off the lead after 2 rounds. This year he's 5 strokes off the lead. I get it. But if you watched him actually play, you were sitting there like, oh my God, you see shades of the old Tiger and him just getting better and better and better.
Well, I think there's a difference between what we want to happen and what's going to happen. I think we both want this to work. I mean, let's face it, we were Tiger fans. For 10 years, he was literally, Tiger changed my television viewing experience. Yeah. Literally on Sundays, at noon, I'd be like, what time is it? I got to get.
Who's your favorite sports expert? I'm going to tell you, you're thinking about it. Your favorite sports expert is Vegas. Would you not agree?
I agree.
You follow what Vegas does. After yesterday, his odds for winning the Masters cut in half. Wait till tomorrow after they've seen this round. Vegas is liking what they see from Tiger Woods.
Okay, but golf is a sport of repetition. This is why, we don't think of it as a physical sport, but this is why golfers' backs go out.
Yeah.
And hands. This is day 2. To win on the tour, it's 4 days and repetition and repetition. I think Tiger's going to come out tomorrow. He's not going to be the same golfer. I think he's going to.
I get it. You didn't get to see it, and I get the skepticism. That's the safe place to be, skeptical of this. But you just heard Tiger Woods. He knows his body better than anybody. First thing out of his mouth was, I think this proves the surgery a success. And what he's saying is, I just went through 2 rounds of golf. I'm going to go do my warm down now, and I feel great. And if you see him on the court, if you see the way he's walking the court, he's not searching for his swing. There is no pain. He seems very confident. And again, is the course set up for him? Yeah, it's his deal. It's his. Dustin Johnson's on that course, #1 player in the world. He ain't doing as good as Tiger Woods. That course is challenging. Jordan Spieth and a bunch of other guys. Justin Thomas.
So there's 18 golfers total.
Yeah.
And what place is he in?
He's in 5th or 6th right now.
So that means...
Tied for 5th, I'm sorry.
Tied. So of the 18 golfers, he's not in the top 25%. And you are elated.
I'm elated because I know what he left on the course. I know that, again, it wasn't about his swing. It's just course management right now for Tiger. That's where the rust is.
Who's your favorite athlete of all time?
It's either Tiger Woods or Magic Johnson. And I go back and forth. Tiger is the... Well, I've cried for Magic Johnson, too. But Tiger Woods can still make me cry. I'm getting emotional right now. Tiger Woods has brought me some of my greatest... I'm a fan. I love sports, and I'm a fan. Tiger Woods has brought... When he first won the Masters, it was one of the greatest moments of my life.
I'll tell you what's going to make me sad. When Tiger comes out tomorrow and has a snowman on the 2nd hole. I'm going to be sad for you.
It will not happen.